Okay, let's start with a question. Can the government just take away your right to travel without giving you any explanation? I mean, picture this. You've got your passport, you're all set for an international trip, and then boom, a letter shows up. It says your passport is being taken away, quote, in the public interest. And when you ask, hey, why? The answer is basically, we're not telling you. So can they actually do that? Well, that very question kicked off one of the biggest, most important constitutional cases in India's history.
Yep. We are talking about the one and only Maneka Gandhi versus the Union of India. This 1978 Supreme Court judgment, well, it did way more than just answer that passport question. It completely redefined what freedom even means in India. For anyone studying law, and especially if you're gearing up for the AOR exam, this case isn't just important, it is absolutely foundational.
So, here is how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at how things were before, with rights and isolation. Then we'll jump into the passport challenge itself. After that, the main event, forging the Golden Triangle. We'll cover what fair, just, and reasonable really means. And finally, wrap it all up with the case's massive legacy.
All right, let's get into it. Part 1, Rights and Isolation. You know, to really get why Maneka Gandhi was such a game changer, you have to see what the world looked like before it. We need to do a little time travel back to the legal scene pre-1978. So back in the day, the big case was A.K. Gopalan from 1950. And the court had this idea of watertight compartments. It's a key phrase. Basically, they saw fundamental rights as being totally separate, like they were in different sealed boxes. So you had Article 19 for free speech over here, and Article 21 for life and liberty over there, and they never mixed. This meant that if a law took away your personal liberty, it only had to satisfy the rules of Article 21. It didn't matter one bit if that same law also trampled all over your right to equality in Article 14 or your freedoms in Article 19. They were in separate compartments, so who cares, right? That was the old rule.
So what exactly was the test under Article 21 then? The magic words were procedure established by law, and the Gopalan court took this super literally. It meant, quite simply, any procedure, as long as it was written down in a law passed by the legislature. Was the procedure fair? Was it just? Was it reasonable? It didn't matter. It was completely irrelevant. If a law was on the books, that was good enough. That was the procedure. Scary, right?
Okay, part 2, a passport, a challenge. So this entire restrictive way of thinking, it was about to come crushing down. And this wasn't some academic debate, you know. It was sparked by something very real, very personal, a passport. So here's the timeline. June 1976, Maneka Gandhi gets a passport. Fast forward a year, July 1977, she gets a letter. It says she has to hand over her passport within 7 days. The official reason? In public interest, under a section of the Passport Act. So naturally, she asks for the actual reasons. And the government's response? They refused. They said giving her the reasons was not in the interest of the general public. That refusal, that because we said so attitude, that was the spark. That's what set this whole thing in motion.
And that brings us to part 3, the Golden Triangle forged. This is the heart of the story, folks. This is the Supreme Court's judgment. And let me tell you, they didn't just bend the old rules, they shattered them. And from the pieces, they built something entirely new, something much, much stronger to protect our liberty.
So the first thing to go, the A.K. Gopalan doctrine. It was the first domino to fall. The court just came out and said it. That whole watertight compartments idea was just plain wrong. Fundamental rights aren't these lonely, isolated islands. No, they're all part of one big, integrated system. They have to work together. And once those walls came down, the court could finally give Article 21 a new soul. They said, personal liberty is so much more than just not being in jail. It's a huge, expansive concept, of the widest amplitude, as they put it. It covers all sorts of rights that make life worth living. And crucially for this case, they said, yes, that absolutely includes the right to travel abroad. So here's the big takeaway. If all these rights are connected, then any law that messes with your personal liberty under Article 21 can't just be tested against Article 21 anymore. It has to face the music from other rights too. No more hiding in one little box. And that brings us to this idea of the Golden Triangle. It's the perfect name for it. It's this new 3-part test that any law affecting personal liberty has to pass. So what are the 3 sides? First, Article 14. Is the law fair and not arbitrary? It has to pass the equality test. Second, Article 19. are the restrictions on your freedom reasonable? And third, Article 21 itself. Does the law follow a procedure that is fair, just, and reasonable? You have to satisfy all three. This interconnectedness of Articles 14, 19, and 21, that is the Maneka Gandhi judgment in a nutshell. All right, part 4, fair, just, and reasonable. Now that the Golden Triangle was in place, the court had to tackle that other huge issue. What does procedure established by law actually mean now?
And to understand their thinking, you have to hear this incredible quote from Justice P.N. Bhagwati. He said that arbitrariness pervades Article 14 like a brooding omnipresence. What a line. Basically, he's saying that the whole point of Article 14 is to fight against randomness and unfairness. So if that's true, then any procedure in Article 21 must be reasonable. An arbitrary procedure isn't really a procedure at all. It's just tyranny with extra steps.
So there you have it. The old literal meaning was thrown out. After Maneka Gandhi, procedure established by law means the procedure has to be fair, just, and reasonable. It's that simple and that profound. This one change was huge. It basically brought the whole idea of natural justice, what some might call due process, right into the heart of the Indian Constitution. Courts could now look at a law and ask, not just, is this a law, but is this law fair?
But wait a minute, you may be thinking, what about emergencies? Does this mean the government can't act fast when it needs to? Like, what if they have to impound a passport right now to stop someone from skipping the country? Well, the court was way ahead of us. They came up with a really smart, practical solution. And their solution was something called a post-decisional hearing. Here's how it works. In an urgent situation, yes, the state can act first. They can impound the passport without a hearing. But, and this is the key part, right after they take that action, they must give the person the reasons. And then they have to give that person a real, meaningful chance to be heard and to argue their case. It's a brilliant compromise, right? It allows for urgent action while still protecting the core principles of fairness.
So let's bring it all home. Part 5, the Maneka Gandhi legacy. What's the bottom line here? Look, it's impossible to overstate how big of a deal this case is. It's not just some other case you read about. It is the absolute foundation of our modern understanding of fundamental rights in India. Okay, for all of you with the AOR exam on your mind, this is your cheat sheet. You need to know these 4 things cold. Number 1, watertight compartments are gone. Rights are interconnected. Number 2, the Golden Triangle is born. A law has to pass the test of Articles 14, 19, and 21. Number 3, procedure now means fair, just, and reasonable. And number 4, the post-decisional hearing, which shows how natural justice can be flexible. Got it? Those are the keys.
Seriously, think about it. So many of the rights we take for granted today grew out of this one case. The right to a clean environment, the right to privacy, the right to a speedy trial. Every single one of them can be traced back to the new, wider, more humane understanding of personal liberty that Maneka Gandhi gave us. It's like this judgment found a key and unlocked the true power of the fundamental rights in our Constitution.
And that brings us full circle. This isn't just about some old case from 1978. It's about a living, breathing principle that protects you and me, right now, today. So I'll leave you with this to think about. Which of your rights, the freedoms that you value every day, stand on the shoulders of this one single judgment?
Thank you everyone for joining the class and प्लीज़ लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब माई चैनल। आप लोग सब्सक्राइब नहीं करोगे तो फिर आप लोग को वीडियो नहीं मिलेगा और आप लाइक करोगे तो मुझे मोटिवेशन मिलेगा। थैंक यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग वंस अगेन। टाटा बाय बाय टेक केयर।